Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Never Too Late to Fly podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline.
And I'm Kevin. Together, we're going to dive into different topics around weight loss, body image, relationships with food, and how to overcome life's everyday struggles and challenges so we can all live our best lives possible. Remember, it's never too late to fly. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. We are jumping right into episode 2 here. In this episode, we're going to talk about motivation and what it's like to get started. And I know that Jacqueline has gone on an incredible 300-pound weight loss journey. So why don't you kind of jump in and start talking about what it was like to get started?
So I think in terms of motivation and getting started, a lot of people wait for like this magic to happen or this perfect moment for when they can begin something, whether it be weight loss, whether it be a goal or accomplishing something that they've always wanted to do. I think they always wait or try to wait till like the conditions are perfect. It's the right time. And while I agree with some of that, I also think when it comes to achieving a goal, especially for me, losing 300 pounds, what I had to do was I just had to start. And I know that might not be the answer people are looking for, but I think in order to accomplish something, you just have to start.
Absolutely. I think if you never get started, the conditions are never going to be perfect for you to get started. There's always going to be, oh, what if this? Oh, what if that? And you keep delaying that inevitable thing, like you just have to get started.
Right. And I think that it can be scary and it can be hard because you have all of these things going on of what if I fail? What if I can't do it? What if it becomes too hard? What if I'm not strong enough? What if I'm not good enough? And all those fears, I think, play into adding to us not being able to start.
Well, they hold you back.
Exactly. And I think if you can let go of that and just say, you know what, I'm going to start and it's right now, I think it's so much easier because like I said, the conditions are never going to be right.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
But I also think that you have to be doing it for the right reasons. And for me, with weight loss, I had to be ready for myself. It didn't matter how many people told me, you know, your weight's getting a little bit out of control. You should try losing weight. It didn't matter how many doctors were telling me that, you know, I was at risk, you know, and being 500 pounds was not healthy for me. And I knew all of those things. And I don't think I was waiting because I didn't know exactly how or any of that, or because people were telling me and I was stubborn and I just chose not to do it. I think I had to be ready in myself to finally believe in myself to be like, you know what? I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of putting it off. I'm tired of living a life that's not mine. And all of these excuses are exactly that. They're just excuses. And I think when you could put that away and start because you feel ready and you're ready to do it and not doing it for someone else, I think that's a huge part in how you're going to be successful.
I think that's a huge key that you said right there, that you're doing it for yourself, because those wanting to change for someone else can only take you so far before your own self reels you back in and you go back to your old ways.
And I think I did that for so long, whether it being trying to lose weight for prom or to fit in a dress or for a guy to like me or to fit in with your friends or for this event or to be good in a swimming suit or like to do it for all of these conditions. I think that's why so many times I tried to go on diets before, and I hate that word, but we're going to be using it, is on all these diets because that's exactly what they were. And then I would lose weight, but I would end up gaining the weight back every time plus some. And I think it wasn't until I finally threw out the excuses, stopped waiting for the perfect moment, and actually started doing it for me because I wanted to do it. And I think that's what makes you successful. And that's actually what helped me to lose over 300 pounds.
Right. I think building on that, I think is a huge key, is finding a why for yourself. Not having a why because someone else tells you that you should have a why, but finding that why you want to lose weight, why you want to start this business, why you want to do whatever it is that you want to do. You have to have a why that's big enough to keep you going, more than those superficial things that you were saying, like, oh, I want to fit in this dress, or I want this guy to like me. It has to be a bigger why as to why you want to do it, that's going to push you through and give you that motivation and that inspiration to continue on when it does get difficult, because that's the bottom line, is it's not going to be easy.
Right. And I think figuring out your why is so important before you start anything. Like you said, why do you want to do this? And for me, I actually had to sit down with myself and say, why do I need to lose weight? Why do I want to lose weight? And it had to be, like Kevin was saying, bigger than to fit in this dress or for this person to like me or to fit in or have more friends. It had to be bigger than that. And once I was able to like reel it in and figure out why do I actually want to do this and why am I going to do this, I think that's definitely what helps you continue on. So when you do, a lot of us, we start off on whether it be a project or weight loss and we feel ready and we feel motivated. And then somewhere along the line, it gets too hard, it's too challenging, we get lazy, we give up. And so then we just quit. And I think having a strong why is something that you can go back on when you do start losing that motivation to kind of reel it in and say, you know what, instead of quitting, reminding myself, why am I doing this? And a lot of the times for me, when I was able to go back to that why, I was not able to quit or give up like I did before. I was able to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this because it's going to better my life. I'm going to be able to live past my 30th birthday, or I'm not going to go to sleep every night and be afraid that I'm not going to wake up because I'm going to stop breathing.
See, those right there are huge reasons why
Right.
you want to change.
And I actually wanted to live my life because at 500 pounds, no matter what anyone says, you're not living life.
Absolutely.
You're not living life to the fullest. I was not myself. I was not happy with myself. And on top of mentally, all the things that come with it, like physically, not being able to get out of bed, not being able to brush my hair, relying on people so much because I was at that weight. And I think coming up with those bigger whys, like I actually want to live and live my life and get married and have kids and not die, is a huge reason that kept me going. So I think before you start anything, you really have to break it up to why am I doing this?
Yeah. So I think the next thing that people wait for would be maybe like a moment, like, okay, this is my moment. This is why I need to get started. But beyond that, like, why that moment might never come.
Yeah. And I think with weight loss, a lot of people are like, we hear about these people, and I know I'm kind of part of this because I do have a big moment, but a lot of people use that as, well, I'm going to wait till my moment happens and then I'll be ready and I'll start. But the thing with moments, and even with my moment, is that, and I feel like I'm saying the word moment a lot, but it's like in the moment, you don't realize how big that event or how big that moment actually is until later on. Like when I had my moment in Disneyland happen where my life changed forever and I finally decided to lose weight for me, I didn't know at that time, like, oh yeah, I'm going to look back years later and this is going to be the defining moment of my whole weight loss journey. I had no idea.
I think that comes from if you didn't make those changes at that time, that moment is just another moment in your life that
right.
is kind of meaningless.
And so that's exactly right, because if you don't actually make changes and decide to just start and just do it, you're never going to have that moment. You can have the three fairies from Sleeping Beauty come down and wave their spell and say, okay, here's your moment, go. And unless you actually do it and actually start and put whatever you're doing into practice or start the process of losing weight or whatever it is, that means nothing. Like
Absolutely.
The fairies coming down means absolutely nothing unless you're actually ready to take that step and start. And once you actually take that step and start, that's your moment. You're creating that moment for yourself. So we can't wait for it to happen or the conditions to be right, like we mentioned before. Your moment is actually like having the light bulb switch in your head, turning the light on and being like, I'm doing this, and actually starting.
Taking the action to actually put the changes into motion.
And
if you don't take action, then it's just...
And I think we become very good at making excuses because we're scared. We're scared of failing or letting others down, letting ourselves down, thinking maybe this dream or this goal is too big and I really can't do it. Or the fears or things of others telling you, oh, you're never going to accomplish this. You're never going to be able to do this. And we start having those fears and we start believing them. And I think that's what we keep doing is we keep making excuses because we don't trust in ourselves enough to be able to be like, you know what? Yes, this is scary. Yes, I might fall down and mess up and make a mistake. but that's okay.
And it's going to be hard, but that's all right.
And I think we have this expectation of when we start on a journey, it's going to be easy because we're so motivated and we're so dedicated and we want it so bad that it's not going to be hard or we're not going to mess up. But then when things become hard or when things become challenging, we think we failed, so we quit automatically. Or we think, oh my gosh, see, I can't do it. Everyone was right. Like, I'm actually not good enough, or I can't do this. And we use those failures, like, it's not really a failure, but those mistakes or challenges or setbacks as failures. And they're not. They're part of the journey. They're part of what we're going through.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's so scary is if we think, well, for me, when I started, it was thinking, well, what if I fail? What if I can't do this? What if I can't lose over 300 pounds? And what if it's too hard? And it's like switching it. It's like, yes, it is going to be hard. And I think we're trained, you know, and we hear a lot of people, especially in the weight loss industry, like, oh, it's just easy. You just have to, you know, eat less calories, work out. Like losing weight is so easy. And people who've done it make it seem like it's so easy. And that's intimidating for people who are about to start their journey because they're like, if it's hard for me or I struggle, what's wrong with me?
But I think too, that's a lot of people don't realize that it takes good, healthy choices, be that your food, be that your exercise, be that drinking your water, all of those things day after day for long periods of time to make that success. It's not, oh, I do it for a week and oh, I'm going to be down 10 pounds.
Right. And so I think that's the fear that people have is that if they do mess up, that they're a failure and that something's wrong with them because it was so easy for everyone else, not realizing it is hard for everyone else, but everyone else might not be sharing that.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then, like you said, it doesn't happen overnight for people. Like for me, if I post a before and after picture, I get so many comments of people saying, wow, it was so easy for you. You did it. How did you do it? I'm never going to be able to do it. It was so easy for you because you just did it. And that's not the case. Like it's hard for every single person, whether you have 5 pounds to lose or 500 pounds to lose. Losing weight is hard and keeping the weight off is hard and going after our goals and our dreams, even if they're not weight loss related, is hard. Because I think so many people don't have that self-confidence or that self-love to actually go after what they want in life. And they listen to people who aren't maybe motivated or dedicated enough to go after their own dreams.
And they let those people hold them back.
And they're so easy to say, well, you can't do it because maybe they can't do it. And so we listen to that and we use that instead of ignoring all of that outside noise and really focusing in on ourselves and reminding ourselves of the why and why we're doing this and why we want to do this. And knowing we are capable of doing this.
Yeah. And I think too, part of that kind of sticking with it and whatever is building a routine that you can be disciplined enough to follow it, even if you don't feel like doing it.
Right.
Like day in and day out, like, you know, that, okay, I don't feel like going to the gym today. And then pretty soon, like you start kidding yourself and being like, okay, well, I don't need to go to the gym tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fall into that loop of you keep making these excuses and you don't do it. And it's a matter of making the commitment to continue on, even on the days that you don't feel like it.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that you might have all this motivation in the beginning to start. And then after maybe a week or 2 weeks or a month, that initial excitement or that feeling kind of goes away. And you're stuck with the reality like, oh my gosh, I have, like for me, 300 pounds to lose. And, you know, in the first month, maybe you lost 20 pounds, which is amazing. But then for me, I kept saying, but I still have 300 pounds to lose. And I think that fear and that self-doubt starts kicking in. And then maybe you aren't as motivated or you're sore or you're tired and you don't want to go to the gym, like Kevin was saying.
Or my friends are going out for drinks.
Right. Or, you know, my whole family's getting pizza for dinner and I want to have it too. And I don't want to have to go to the gym, or this is too hard. I can't do this.
And it's not saying that eating pizza is bad or going out with your friends is bad, but you have to realize what your goals are and be disciplined enough to follow the plan to get you where you want to go.
So for an example, for me, when I first started off, once I joined a gym, because I did not just jump into a gym. That was absolutely not the case. I lost probably almost 200 pounds before I actually stepped foot into a gym. But for me, I knew Monday through Thursday, every day after work, I was going to go to the gym. So I went to work until 5:30. The gym was from 6 to 7. And then I would go home, have dinner, finish the rest of my evening. That was just the place and the schedule and the routine I created for myself. So, of course, things happen in life and you have to learn to like kind of go with the flow and change things up if necessary, like if it's absolutely necessary, but you have to follow your routine. If you're not consistent with following it, you're going to keep making excuses as to why you're not going to do it. And that's exactly what you were saying.
Absolutely.
You're going to find every little excuse to be like, you know what, it's okay if I miss the gym today. And then the next day, well, I am really tired. You know, maybe I'm going to miss it today. Oh, you know what? I've already missed 2 days. Might as well just skip the whole week and start again next week. And you're going to keep creating these excuses. And it's never going to get easier.
I think too that goes back to that classic quote: if you want things that you've never had before, you have to do things that you've never done before.
And I think putting a routine in place is so important, especially when it comes to having big goals, or like for me, losing 300 pounds. Because if not, it can feel very overwhelming, very intimidating, and you'll keep making excuses. And I think once you have that routine in place, like for me, knowing I went to the gym every day, Monday through Thursday, you're actually making yourself a priority, because when you are eating healthy and exercising and taking care of yourself, you are making yourself a priority and taking care of yourself. And when things happen in life, that's usually the first thing to go.
But
You'll
I think
skip the gym, you'll eat, all the extra food, and you'll stop taking care of you and having that you time. And I think if you can be strict and follow that routine, it's going to become a lot easier to just keep going.
Yeah, and I think those two kind of go hand in hand. If you are going to the gym, you're not going to want to go eat everything in the world, because you don't want to basically go to the gym for no reason at all. And then the same thing goes true if you're eating well. It's going to be easier for you to want to say, okay, I'm going to go work out, because I don't just want to go sit on the couch. Because when you fill your body with good food, it makes you feel good and makes you want to continue to keep doing what.
And I think if you can stay consistent with your routine and doing what you're doing, you are going to start seeing changes and you are going to start feeling better. And so it is going to be easier to want to stick to your routine and to keep going. But also, the more you keep doing it, you're going to start feeling proud of yourself as well. Like, you know what? I stuck to my routine for a whole month and I feel good. My body's changing. Clothes are fitting differently. I'm getting closer to my goal. And that's going to help fuel that motivation to keep you going. And so it's not always looking for motivation when you're lacking it. It's knowing you have to be consistent and keep on the process and trusting the process and doing what you're supposed to be doing in order to reach your goals. And along the way, when you are able to do that, you're going to feel so good. So it's only going to help you stay motivated to keep going as well.
Yeah. And I think, like we had talked about, it's about building those healthy habits and sticking to that routine. And then that's going to snowball. And the more that you continue to do it, the easier it's going to become for you to continue to do it. And it's also, you're going to start seeing those results. You're going to have that consistency, and it's just going to become second nature. It's about making these changes into a lifestyle change, something that you can see yourself doing for the long haul, for the rest of whatever, rather than, oh, I'm going to lose these 20 pounds or these 30 pounds, and then I can go back to eating however I was eating before.
Right.
Like, obviously that didn't work. That got you to where you were.
I think that goes back to when you first begin like a weight loss journey, or you're about to start on a new goal or adventure or whatever it is. Like having that plan in place is so important as well. And knowing what you have to do in order to help you reach your goals, and being prepared and having a plan and knowing what you have to do. And you can't just jump into it and say, okay, I'm ready to lose 300 pounds and not have any idea of how to do it.
Absolutely.
So I think it's putting a plan in place of knowing, okay, this is going to be my routine. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my food prepared, my snacks prepared. I'm going to have everything ready to help me be successful. And that includes coming up with like a plan, like I said, the gym, or whether you're working out at home or going for a walk every day, that you just make some sort of plan and you stick to it, because the more you stick to it, it's going to become part of your routine, which is what you were talking about. And it's not going to feel like something that you're just, I don't know.
It's like a temporary thing. Like,
Right.
oh, in 2 months, I'll be down these 20 pounds, and you can just kind of throw everything out the window and go back to what you were doing before.
So part of making your plan is making the things that you can stick to for long term. Like I get asked all the time if I gave up carbs, and absolutely not. Like if anyone knows me, carbs are my favorite food in the entire world. And I lost over 350 pounds eating carbs every single day, Because realistically for me, I've tried giving up carbs before. I've gone on a no carb diet. I've given up cheese and dairy and a whole bunch of different things throughout my life to try to lose weight. And the reality was I couldn't stick to it.
I think that's much the same way as like you're not going to go out and say, okay, I'm going to run a marathon every day.
Right.
Like that's just
And
not
so
realistic.
I think for me, I knew I was not going to be able to stick to a routine where carbs were not part of it. So I had to come up with a plan that was actually going to work for me, and which might be a plan that's different for Kevin, which might be a plan that's different for you. And I think it's so important to listen to yourself and what you're going to feel is successful for the long term, that you can make that lifestyle, which is a whole part of getting started and a reason to get started, and is to help you prepare for not only right now to lose 300 pounds, but after I reach my goal to continue having a healthy life and to keep making the choices that are best for me.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I think that's the key is if you don't make those changes into life changes or lifestyle changes, you're going to end up at least part of the way back to where you were, if not worse off than you were before.
And I think that's why a lot of people talk about how they've regained weight after weight loss or extreme weight loss. And I know I've struggled with it a bit, which we'll get into in different episodes. But I think if you look at it as a short-term thing, like it's just a diet, and then like you said, go back to old ways, I think that's so harmful. So when you're starting a journey or a weight loss journey and you're looking for that motivation to get started, it can't just be like, it's going back to your why. It can't just be to lose weight, but why are you doing it for your life? Why are you making these changes in your life? And it's not just to lose weight or the immediate right now, but the overall picture of how it's going to change your life, whether it be going after a dream job, a dream career. It's not just right now to get that job, but how it's going to help you in the long run. So, and I think what's important to remember with motivation is you're not always going to have it.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is okay. You know, anyone would be lying to you if they said they're motivated all the time to do something.
I would think, I mean, I don't know 100% of this, but I would think more times than not, you're not motivated to do it. It's about being disciplined enough to follow through because it's what you know you need to do to get where you want to go.
Because of course there's not every day where I'm like, I'm so ready to go to the gym. Let's hit the gym and get this workout in and eat my healthy food and eat these vegetables. And yeah, like I'm so excited. Like, no, like there's days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to work out. Like, I don't want to. I want to stay in bed. I don't want to move. I want to watch TV all day. And it's something I'm not motivated to do. So should you not do it on all the days you're not motivated? Of course not, because you're probably going to have more days that you don't feel like doing something than you're going to feel like doing it.
Absolutely.
But that's why it's important to create those healthy habits, create those healthy routines, and do it anyway and push yourself anyway, because it's usually in the moments when we don't feel like doing something when we need it the most. So for me, it usually the moments that I didn't feel like working out or I wasn't motivated to work out was because maybe I was having a bad mental health day and I was just feeling bad about myself. Like I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm so fat. I hate my body. I hate this. I don't feel like working out because it's not working. When that's the moment I had to do it the most, because after I got my workout in, I had a new boost of confidence. I was proud of myself for actually doing it. I was proud of my body for being able to move and to work out. And I think that just boosted me on all the moments I didn't want to do it, and I did it anyways. And then I got a new wave of confidence in myself to continue to keep moving forward.
Right. I think, too, another key is surrounding yourself with people who have a common vision or a common goal, who are going to support you instead of hold you back.
I think when you're motivated, it's very contagious and other people feel motivated to be able to continue or do what they're doing. But if you surround yourself with people who are unmotivated or are constantly trying to put you down or tear you down or tell you, oh, you should skip the gym and just come out and eat with us, or you don't have to eat your healthy food today, come out and do this, and you surround yourself with that, that's mentally how you're going to become.
I think
and I think it's so important when you have a big goal. Like for me, when I had to lose 300 pounds, it was surrounding myself with people who helped keep me motivated and helped pushing me to be the best I could.
I think, too, who can see the vision of where you want to go.
Exactly.
And will do anything in their power to help support you to get there themselves.
And there's this one quote from one of my trainers, Bo. He was the very first trainer I had at the gym. I did personal training, still do it with him now. He told me the first day he met me, he saw this fire in my eyes that this girl is going to do it and she's going to lose all this weight. Because I told him I have at that point, probably close to 200 pounds to lose still. I've never worked out in my life, never joined a gym. I'm here. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need modifications, but I'm here. And he said the moment we met or that he saw me, he knew I was going to do it. And I think you need people like that who believe in you, who when you are struggling, you can count on them to help you, to be like, you know what, you're struggling right now, but you got this. And then you're going to help. It's going to help fuel you to keep going, especially on the days you don't want to.
I think too, the other key is like having people who aren't going to say, oh, well, you don't, like you said, you don't have to go work out today. Oh, let's go get drinks instead. Like, it's okay, let's go work out together and then we can go get drinks after that if we still want to do that. It's not like an either or, it's supporting.
Mm-hmm. And I've had plenty of people who don't understand my journey, didn't support what I was doing, and people who didn't think I could do it. And they thought I was crazy for wanting to lose 300 pounds. And we have to remember we can't control those people. We can only control ourselves and how we choose to think and how we choose to respond to that. And I think that's a huge part in this overall motivation is reminding yourself you're not always going to be motivated and it's okay. There's always going to be people who tell you you can't do it. You're not good enough. You go to a gym and you see people who are stronger than you, lifting more than you, running faster than you. You can't use that or them as a reason for you to quit because you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not at that level, or listening to all those haters telling you who you can be or who you can't be and what you can accomplish and what you can't accomplish. And you really have to focus on yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you want to accomplish something big. Like you have to be able to stay motivated, stay self-disciplined, create those healthy routines for yourself because it's what's best for you and kind of block everything else out.
Yeah, and I think you can't be comparing yourself to other people, otherwise you'll never make it. You have to do
right.
Like better than I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to improve on the things that I was doing last week. I want to do them better this week, more reps, more weight, whatever that is.
And I know from personal experience, a lot of my lack of motivation or days I didn't want to go to the gym is because maybe I knew it was leg day and I've always had bigger legs and it's been hard for me to squat and lunge and because I carry a lot of my weight in my legs. And so when I would go to the gym, I would see all these people with these strong legs, these skinny legs, these lean legs, being able to squat and jump and kick, and I couldn't do it. And so a lot of the time was like, well, I don't want to go then. Like, I don't want to go and put myself in that situation because I'm not good enough. See, I told you I'm not good enough. I can't do any of these things. I can't jump. I can't do what everyone else is doing. I'm not going. And I think part of it is still being able to not compare yourself to others along the journey and still focusing on yourself. And I know a lot of this is easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the mental part of it that is so much more difficult than physically showing up and doing the workout. It's that mental stuff that you have to talk yourself down from day in and day out in order to make it be successful.
And to try to stay in that positive mindset and to remind yourself, again, always going back to why you're doing this. You know, you're not doing this to please anyone else. You're not at the gym to try to look like her or to lift like him or to have their body. You're doing it because it's what's best for you and your body. And what's important to remember in those times when you might start comparing yourself to someone else and feeling like you still have so far to go is to remind yourself of where you are right now, how far you have come right now. And just walking into that gym is a huge accomplishment in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't matter what you were able to do, what you can do. It's always about doing your best, starting where you are and reminding yourself of how far you've come. And I think when we can remind ourselves of those things, it's so helpful and it continues to help keep moving us forward because you're not in this for someone else. Remember your why. You're not doing this for someone else. You're doing it for you. And I think if you can really remember that and really have that strong why, anything that you go through of challenges or comparing yourself or not wanting to do it, your why is so strong, you can always go back to that to remind you. And again, all of this stuff is easier said than done. And this is coming from I started my journey in 2012. So it's been several years of me practicing this, practicing saying these things to myself, practicing my routine and my discipline and building those healthy habits for myself. It's not going to come overnight. So you might
Well, and there's
think,
still
we're
days too
sitting
that
here, telling you all this stuff that, you listen to this now and tomorrow, you should have all these things changed. That's not the case. Like a big part of it is you just have to start and have that plan in place and being able to change the way you're thinking along the way about yourself, about your body, about what you're doing. And I think that comes
but I
with
think
time.
too, like you were saying, it comes with time and being aware that maybe you need to change the way you're thinking or
Mm-hmm.
looking at things. And sure, you might still like not think of it in a positive way, and you might still have this negative way about going about it, but you're still aware of it. And that's the first step in making those changes, at least being aware and acknowledging, okay, I'm not thinking about this in the most positive light. I'm not, but I can work on, once you know that you're aware that you're doing it, you can work on changing it.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, it comes back to self-love too. And that's a whole nother topic, but it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to lose 300 pounds overnight. You're not going to change your habits and your patterns and your behavior overnight. It comes with constantly changing the way you think, constantly changing the way you talk to yourself, constantly changing how you think about your body, changing the way, when other people say things about you, how you react to it. It's constantly trying every single day. And another trainer at the gym, I remember he told me when, I would lose 2 pounds and then he was like, that's great. And I'm like, okay, well, I still have 100 more to go, and I would have days like that. It's normal. And he would say, what you have to focus on is each day and winning every day and doing the best you can each and every day, not worrying about what happened yesterday, not worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, but doing the best you can today. And that's what you have to worry about. So when your head hits the pillow at night, you know you won the day.
Right.
And I think that is a huge, I didn't realize it in the time how much those words affected me. But years now later,
Right.
they still affect me. And when I find myself in a negative space or feeling like I still have so far to go, it's reminding yourself all you can do is focus on today. You can't change the past. You can't put yourself ahead in the future to be where you want to be. You have to focus on today and doing the best you can today. And I think
But I think you could even break that down into smaller things and say, in this moment right here,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm struggling in this moment right now. The only thing I can affect or change is what's going on right now. And I can choose to go down the negative path, or I can choose to turn it around and say, I'm going to win this moment right now. I'm not going to have that donut that's sitting there for everyone, and and take it even smaller than the day. But again, like when he was doing that, it was invaluable, I feel like. Because as long as you're winning more days than you're losing, then you're going to be making progress.
And I think that's a good way to kind of close this up is when we talk about motivation or when you hear people talk about motivation, remember, you're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to have perfect conditions. Things are not going to be perfect where, like I said, the fairies are going to come down, sprinkle pixie dust on you, and you're magically going to do it with no setbacks, no fall ups, no slip ups, no mess ups. That's not the case. And I think realizing when you're about to start something is knowing this is going to be hard. I am going to have hard days, hard moments. I am going to maybe mess up and fall down and slip up and cry and bleed and scream.
And it might take a long time.
But it's reminding yourself, you know what? I can do this. I will do this. And I am capable of doing this, because it's not about how many times we fall down. It's about falling down and being able to continue to stand back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, because we can't go back and change the past. All we could do is keep moving forward one step, one day at a time. And I think that's the biggest thing, is realizing you're not always going to be motivated, and that's okay. You're not a failure. And when things happen in life and you slip up or you mess up, it's okay, but stand back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward.
Right. And so with that, we'd like to ask everybody to rate, review, and subscribe. And we are currently on iTunes, we are on the Google Play Store, and we are on Spotify. We are working on getting to more places where you can consume podcasts.
But we really hope you found this episode helpful, that we were able to help you a little bit if you're feeling stuck in starting something, starting a project, starting your weight loss, that it just kind of helps you a little bit to be able to get started and to believe in yourself, because we have to believe in ourselves in order for anything to happen.
Right.
So.
And without further ado, I guess we can say, remember,
It's never too late to fly.